Yeah, that's basically the history: suicide, murder, desecration,
suffocation, no breathing.
Don't give a cut my arm bleeding.
Holy shit. That song is about mayhem.
Last Resort by Papa Roach is about mayhem. Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my morbid co-host, Alexander Volts. Say hello.
A very hoobie Halloween to our listeners.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Yeah, I almost forgot what day it is.
Oh, no, it's like our only tradition, it feels like.
Pretty much. Yeah, every Halloween we do a progressively more morbid band, sort of.
Yes.
We'll talk more about that in a second. This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's pretty much a new discography every episode. And today we'll be discussing, finally, every album by
Mayhem.
We're finally covering Mayhem. This is
long overdue.
We covered the closest thing we've covered to Mayhem was episode 66. We covered Emperor.
Yes.
And I took that as my opportunity to dive deep into the whole lore of the 90s black metal scene in Norway and all the murders and all this stuff. So there's like a lot in that episode. I don't want to do that much here, even though this is the band to do it. We're obviously going to talk about the stuff. We're not going to not talk about the stuff. It's paramount to the history of music. But I think I went into more detail with all the personalities and the people there. I did go back to the book Lords of Chaos and give it, kind of skim through some sections to refresh my memory about some of the things that happened.
I'm a few chapters in.
It is a fascinating book. I read the shit out of half of it.
Yeah.
And then the second half I promptly tossed because it's just about Satanism. And I don't give a fuck about Satanism. Sorry, but I just didn't find it very interesting. But the stuff regarding the music, super interesting.
Those hokey, like 70s quote unquote Satanist bands are like, I'm living for those bands right now.
Wait, why? How?
They're great little albums.
Like legitimately good albums.
I guess it's more weird.
There we go.
I'm talking about bands like Witchcraft and Black Widow. Black Widow has an album called Return to the Sabbath. And then Coven has an album Witchcraft, and they're not menacing at all. I don't think they had the template to do it.
Yeah,
but they are
not quite.
They are singing about Satanism, so yeah, it's kind of like if Jefferson Airplane was singing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
you can't possibly take that seriously. It's hilarious.
No,
to be fair, you can't take a lot of when they try to do that in music seriously. It becomes pretty goofy and hokey, and even black metal is no different. There's moments where it's like, all right, take it easy, bud.
I think you bought that up here, and the more I listen to, the more I think black metal purists are the funniest people on the planet, because I'll listen to stuff like this and I dig it, I do like it,
yeah,
but I'm like, this is what's pure and holy,
or unholy, yeah, more or less, yeah, like this, the first three Dark Throne albums, the first Emperor, fucking first Immortal, first couple of Burzums,
yeah, and it's just it's so wacky and funny sometimes.
Yeah,
how do you guys take this so serious?
Well, I'll tell you how the OGs took it seriously. They were sociopath children.
Oh yes,
and so it is one of the most fascinating histories in all of music. And when you read the details and all the accounts and this person's story and that person's story, the only real explanation and the only real conclusion is, oh, they're all fucking dickheads. They're all just really dumb, childish morons, some of which are legit psychopaths and murderers. Yeah. And you get different colors of it too. You get different it was all very a white color, but but there's different shades of it. So you get the Euronymous, guy who invented Mayhem and
black metal,
invented black metal. Yeah. He's this big figure in the whole scene, and he was huge to it, and he was just a little fucking fame chasing little prick.
Oh, that letter that he wrote about like being like pure like black metal and trashing like bands like Sepultura is
trashing death metal in general too.
It's so funny. Like
it's pretty hokey.
Yeah. And then it's funny because like you like they talk about like shows where they would meet up with other people who like metal music, and you're like, if you listen to Anthrax, there's no way like you legitimately like hate Sepultura.
A lot of them met at an Anthrax show. Meanwhile, Euronymous talked so much like how he hated having to sell Metallica records at his shop. It's like, Metallica's way harder than Anthrax, dude. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I love the idea of Euronymous knowing all the words to "I'm the Man."
Not a bad song.
It's not a bad song.
I like Anthrax. What's the big deal? So
I don't think it's a big deal. Yeah.
So that guy, you get that guy, and then you get the guy who killed him, Varg, who's just like so nuts, such a piece of shit in every possible
like legitimate white supremacist.
So this is the thing, it has layers. It's like, oh, so he's this weird kind of dickhead purist about everything. Okay, that's bad. Oh wait, he's like super into Odinism. Okay, that's weird. Okay, he's also a murderer. Okay, oh, he's also a Nazi. Oh, okay, it's like it just keeps going and going.
He just gets progressively worse.
And yeah, like everything about. He also has tons of explosives all the time.
And he complained about the Norwegian prison system being too soft,
which it is. Honestly,
I got to a part where they brought up like he'd beg the guards to like beat him, and they're just like, "Oh, buddy, you think this is America?
Listen, buddy, we respect our citizens.
We believe in the reform part."
And then let's not forget all the church burnings, which he started. Yes. I believe he's the first one to do it.
I didn't get that far, so I don't know the details the way you do.
I forgot a lot of details. I know he did a handful. He might have done the very first one, but I can't say for sure. And it's all so like juvenile. I think they had to have been in their early 20s, and it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense. These are just like really fucked up, disenfranchised kids.
They just sound like really fucking bored.
Yeah, totally.
And then it's not like really an excuse, but it's something talked about in the book where they try to get like, well, like Norway kind of has like a very, or I don't know what it's like now, but before it used to have a very like strict censorship, especially covering violence. So like horror, action movies, like things teenage boys are into, you don't really like get that outlet. So I think in their head, it was like they couldn't see it expressed. So to them, they were like, we can push it so far. Like they don't know what the boundaries are.
And to be to their credit, they pushed quite a bit.
Yes,
they did a lot of heinous shit. There's a lot of murders. There's a lot of church burnings. There's grave desecration. There's there's so much shit to it. So Tom left us a nice little note here about the band, because we do want to talk about the music here, because whenever anyone brings up Mayhem, it's always the dead blew his brains out with a shotgun. Then they use those skull fragments for necklaces. Like it's all that crazy shit.
I did want to say that I feel like that the like lore of the band, this like story, the shadow, this like it hangs over the band way too much. Like
it's everything. It's why anyone would be interested in the band if they're not already deep in extreme metal.
Yeah, but well, if you just fucking breathe and like realize, I don't want to call them a normal band. Like,
yeah,
I was pleasantly surprised by this discography.
It is a good discography. They're a good band.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we know of the first album, the infamous first album. We know about that. Everything else is also pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was not expecting to enjoy the band this much.
I had no idea, because that first record is so infamous.
Extremely.
Yeah.
But Tom, our history guy, you should all check out and follow. He got us some notes here, but you have to his own little perspective. He says, when it comes to bands burdened under the weight of their own non-musical mythologized history, Mayhem must surely be one of the ultimate cases. Yes, they are. He says, I remember reading the Lords of Chaos book by Diedrich Soderlin and Michael Moynihan many years ago and being fascinated and horrified by the salacious goings on. I think we can both echo that. Didn't really get Mayhem musically at that point. It was too harsh for me in the early 90s. Listening to it now, I better understand the appeal.
I'm glad Tom and I had a similar music. I can't say that word. Trajectory.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where like I like slowly got into more and more.
Slow. Yeah. I heard this first album years ago, and
I'm surprised you didn't say when you were 9 years old.
I wasn't 9, but I was 17.
That's old for you.
It's old for me. Yeah. 15 or like 15 or 16 to like 19 were my metal years when I was really obsessed. But he goes on to say, he says, I don't really want to dig too deeply into all the story around the band, as I think it would be nice for once to honor the band's existence as a musical force rather than obsessing about the gory stories around them. But you can't really avoid it altogether, can you? No, we can't. He also adds here, which is I find quite charming. He says, about 15 years ago, fuck, I'm old, I visited Oslo, and like a proper fucking tourist, I actually visited what used to be the Hell Shop run by Euronymous, or Helvet, I think it's how you pronounce it, as well as one of the churches previously burned down by Varg. There are photos of me down in the cellar, posing in front of an upside-down cross and outside the church, but they'll never see the light of day because really, what could be lamer?
I don't know.
I love him.
Sounds pretty cool.
Sounds pretty fucking lame, dog.
Sounds pretty cool.
Take your pick. Who side you want? Says, not wanting to dwell on the salacious biography of the band. All that stuff is quite neatly summarized on a fan site I found and occurs before the release of the first album proper. So here we go. Yeah. So we could talk all about the dirty, crazy, wild history of the band a little bit, and then we'll jump into the albums and be more, professional. So yeah, they started in 1984, inspired by Venom, which is not surprising.
Yes.
At all.
Yes. The like Venom, and then check out our Celtic Frost interview. Those are like the
episode. Yep.
Those are like the granddaddies of black metal, where maybe they're not black metal proper, but laid a lot of groundwork.
Especially Celtic Frost, where it's like the symphonic elements, the makeup. Yeah, it's pretty big influence. And then Venom literally writing the song and album black metal.
Yep.
Even though they were just like a Motorhead, but more brutal.
Yeah. We did cover Probot though, and like, Kronos is like one of the craziest, raspiest, unique voices in metal, I think.
Killer voice, really. And also hugely a big influence. They're also Sarcophago. I don't really know how it's pronounced. Brazilian band. One of the the earliest instances of corpse paint. I knew a lot of people in high school who were big fans of that band. Never listened to them once. It just wasn't in the cards for me at the time.
I watched a quick little like short documentary. I don't remember if it was Vice or Noisy, one of those, about like Native Americans on like reservations who listen to like metal and black metal, and they talk about like because you brought up like a Brazilian band doing like proper like corpse paint. They talk about how like corpse paint is kind of like in the culture. It's obviously not called that, but like it's so interesting. Like,
oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like North American and South America having this like corpse paint like in history.
That's right. Yeah. You see like ritual use and stuff. Humans are pretty predictable. Like we have like the same
we have patterns, and
we have the same beats pretty much throughout the course of history. Murder, war, banging, lots of banging.
Just want to hear the hits, baby.
That's all we're here for. And that's why we're watching an episode on Mayhem for the hits. So yeah, Euronymous heavily inspired by all of that, and like by most of the accounts, like in the book, he seemed like a really charismatic dude who was really like, he was good at getting things done.
He's kind of like a cult leader.
A little bit.
He was the Pied Piper.
Yeah, he definitely exhibited those symptoms more as the time went on,
Sure.
when like the popularity got to his head, and eventually he kind of became obsessed with his own image, where he started believing all of like what everyone else thought he was, and then he started trying to act like that, and then all the people close to him were like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing?" Like,
Got high off his own supply.
exactly, and it's one of the reasons Varg hated him so much. One of the reasons. He's also a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
Varg is out of his goddamn mind.
Yeah.
And I want to talk more about like his testimony, because it's insane. He's so out of his fucking gourd. But yes, so he was good at like getting the people together and starting this look and getting it to catch on in a way, and having like at least a vision for it. Later on, he would start kind of like shitting on it, and like he was very. I think they say this in the book too. He was like king of revisionist history, where he would say like, no, Mayhem was always black metal from the start. When you listen to the first EP and the first demo, it's like, oh, they're death metal.
Yeah.
It's like black metal just didn't exist yet, and he's, it was a lot of that kind of stuff where all the talks of what's pure and we're gonna take down this establishment because and I'm a communist. Take that back. I'm a fascist. That's how like he's always changing ideologies. He's always just hopping to the next thing. He's that kind of. He's very unstable dude. That's kind of just what the overall impression I got of the guy from all the different accounts. But in 1985, Slayer magazine founder John Metallion Christensen meets the band, and in 1986 they released the Pure Fucking Armageddon demo. And in 87 they released the Deathcrush EP, which we are going to be covering. Deathcrush. Who was on Deathcrush? I believe it was
Maniac.
Maniac is on vocals. Who's Sven Erik Christensen,
Euronymous,
Necrobutcher, he'll return later on,
and Mayhem within Mannheim. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, that lineup, minus Euronymous, will return after all the shit hits the fan. But in the beginning days, it's like a wholly different band. It's a completely different band. In 1988, Dead joins the band. Dead is Per Yngve Olin. He's a Swedish. He was a Swedish guy. He's sang for the band Morbid in Sweden. Him and Hellhammer join. Hellhammer on drums. Yeah. Hellhammer, by the way, the permanent drummer. As soon as he joins, he's the permanent drummer. Fucking amazing.
He's like fucking madman looking from like. I don't think he's on. No, he's not on Deathcrush. But first album to their most recent thing, like I think of a Lars who this kind of is like stagnant.
Yeah.
Where like
has the style, sticks with the style.
Where like Hellhammer is like really pushing himself.
It's insane. So it's not even just like, oh, I'm gonna try this style now. It's I wonder how fast I can go. I wonder how fast the human body can move on these drums. Like he does things that sound fake. I think people have questioned like if that's a drum machine or not, because that's how fucking crazy he is.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Like he's probably a better drummer now than when he was like in his 20s.
Listening to the stuff, I can only imagine so, because and all the changes that he does, they seem very intentional. Like, well, especially like toward the end of the discography, it's like, oh, he's still playing differently. He's not just, I don't know. He's a very interesting drummer. But him and Dead joined the band, and in the same year, Varg Vikernes, I don't want to pronounce his name properly, but Varg, aka Count Grishnak, that's also the same year he formed Burzum.
He's not really a count.
He is no count. He's some dude with guns and flags. But Dead joins, and Dead is a very he's like the quintessential Mayhem vocalist, and there are no there's live recordings. I listened to like 2 or 3 different live albums with Dead. I've heard them several times in the past, but I went back and listened to them just to refresh. Yeah, he's the quintessential black metal vocalist. He's like the guy.
Yeah.
Especially that early on, singing like that, he was the guy. He's also a weird fucking dude, super introverted. Really, really, really depressive. And he moved from Sweden to Norway to join the band. And that was just the fucking wrong move for this dude's mental health. I mean, holy shit.
I don't know if there's any saving this man.
No. His name is Dead. He called himself. He used to bury his clothes.
Yeah, the
for
way
weeks at a time. Just so you have the essence. He would call it the essence of death. So you could be wearing that.
Yeah, like the way it's like also oddly peaceful.
This guy was born to die. Like,
yeah,
he was looking forward to it. Like everyone, in the book, there's all kinds of interviews saying like, oh yeah, we all expected him to do it like sooner or later. It was just kind of a matter of when.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty callous way to look at suicide already. But then you look at the way Euronymous and Hellhammer got the news, and it's like, you guys are fucking psychopaths. You guys are psychopaths.
Oh yeah.
It's hilarious. We'll get to it. But so Dead is this really interesting, lanky, skinny dude, really personifies his name. And he lives with Euronymous in this, like, Euronymous and maybe Hellhammer, someone else, in this house, and he's always butting heads with Euronymous. He kind of hated him. Euronymous is whose real name, by the way, I skipped over. I can't pronounce it correctly because it's in a different language. Øystein Aarseth.
Oh, they're in wrestling, they call your real name your shoot name.
Shoot name?
Yeah. The shoot names are way less interesting than
They're spelled interestingly, but they're not quite as catchy.
Yeah.
And also usually have umlauts and slashes and the O's and whatnot. But anyway, Aarseth, Euronymous, whatever. So this dude, like, some of the stories are like, what person does stuff like this?
Yeah.
Like one story where Dead was trying to sleep. I guess it was late at night. Dead was trying to sleep. Euronymous is blasting this, I guess, like, dancey electronic music that Dead hated. Like, he's like fucking. He got so angry that he's blasting this music when he's trying to sleep that he grabs his pillow and he goes to sleep in the woods. So he goes to sleep in the woods, and what does Euronymous do? He decides that now is a good time to go hunting birds. So he goes outside, starts firing gunshots into the air while he's trying to sleep in the woods.
Fucking hell.
It sounds like hell. It sounds like hell.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So they join, and you can find recordings of it. It's really rough recordings. It sounds like shit. It's really not an optimal way to hear these songs. It's a disservice to, like, you know, how crazy of a situation and what the performances were, because it just sounds like, you know, dog shit demo quality, bad live recordings, but it's still worth to listen for, you know, just to hear his voice. But 1990 was Mayhem's first official gig, which is already kind of wacky that it took them 6 years to get one gig. Really weird.
Yeah.
Dead cut himself so badly that he was apparently sick and pain for the rest of the night, and he tried to go to the hospital afterward, but it was too late and they couldn't give him stitches.
Holy shit.
What was the exact story? I forget which song it was, but it was a song with a big instrumental break, and he'd been talking about doing it for a long time before. So they're like, he knew everyone was expecting him to do it. So there was like no backing out now. So he broke a bottle and he did it, and it was bad, and it was bad, and it was gushy, and it was bloody. And also the same show, they had severed pigs' heads on stakes.
Oh yeah.
Which is like, good job selling it. I mean, yeah, I get why the whole town in 1988 was freaked, or 1990 was freaked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also like, if you want some black humor, like, just Dead trying to get the stake through the head, like he couldn't do it, like he was having a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
It's just absurd. It's fucking absurd. Like, how is that a real story? Jesus age.
Also, yeah, this, like, to live in a place that's kind of so secluded that you, like, have access to all this stuff is
there's I'm amazed by, like, how many weapons they had. They had so many weapons.
They're just white trash.
Oh, totally, absolutely.
Yeah, but just because you have an umlaut over your name doesn't.
They're white trash, but they somehow, like, it's white trash with, like, we also like medieval stuff, which is kind of, I mean, they have, like, fucking morning stars and shit. It's and chainmail.
Yeah,
it's kind of, that makes me laugh. That's pretty fucking funny. But 1991, Dead shoots himself with a shotgun. And Euronymous finds the body, and it's a gruesome mess. And if you've seen the cover of, what is it, Dawn of the Black Hearts, you've seen what it looks like.
Or there's a black and white picture in Lords of Chaos.
Yeah, there's a black and white. Yeah, there's a black and white.
And I'm glad it's black and white. I don't.
The color version is on Dawn of the Black Hearts. Yeah. I didn't realize because I wanted to listen to it. So I went to listen to it, and then I was like, oh, damn, that's a fucking bummer.
Fuck. It's no Ghetto Boys. If you're going to take a photo of a member who shot himself, I prefer that Ghetto Boys cover.
Prefer the Ghetto Boys. But
because that man survived.
He survived. But
shout out to Bushwick Bill.
So he shoots himself. Euronymous finds a body. And before calling the cops, before doing it, the first thing he does is he leaves to go get a camera because he's a fucking psychopath. He comes and he starts taking photos. He collects pieces of the skull. Rumors went around that he like made a stew out of the brains, which is by most accounts like a complete rumor and not true at all. But he did make necklaces out of the skull fragments and gave them to like people he deemed worthy. He gave one to like Faust, the drummer from Emperor, who's also a murderer, who we talked about.
Yes,
killed an innocent guy just for no reason.
Maybe possibly a gay panic.
Well, it was a gay guy, but it seemed way more like, I'll just kill this guy. It was more. It was not like an act of rage. It was an act of like, I'm going to lure you over here. Let's just do this.
Yeah, I think we talked about that.
Yeah,
it was kind of like confusing.
It was. I don't think it was gay panic. I think he because the way he talks about it afterward, he's like, just one. Yeah, just I felt like I wanted to kill someone. And then they all kind of looked at him like Varg looked at what's his name? I think his name was Faust. He looked at him like, shit, man, he killed someone. Fuck, he did it first. Shit. Fuck, I gotta kill someone now.
Fucking James Cameron of black metal raising the bar. That's how because they're fucking kids. That's how the church burnings got out of hand, because like they saw one guy do like, well, I want to be extreme. Yeah, I'm extreme too. If this guy killed someone, I'll kill someone. It was a lot of like that kind of dick measuring stuff. But yeah, so he gave like a necklace to Faust. He gave one to Hellhammer, I imagine. I believe it was. I think Euronymous and Hellhammer took the parts of the skull and made the necklaces out of it. But it's gnarly, and no one was surprised that Dead killed himself. Everyone said like the night of, he seemed way happier than usual, which is, we hear that a lot with suicides. Didn't he even like kind of pose?
No, he wrote like excuse the mess in his suicide note.
Oh yeah, cracking jokes.
Yeah, and he was wearing a shirt, a white shirt that says "I Heart Transylvania" on it.
Yeah,
he's a morbid dude, but everyone was like, yeah. No one was even sad by it, because that's how fucked up these kids are. Euronymous was more like, damn, he was a good singer.
Yeah,
but he also tried to use it as another thing to like
marketing and publicity.
He tried spreading rumors that he Dead killed himself because the black metal scene or something. He tried to cash in on it.
What's more pure than clout chasing? That's what's metal.
That's the most metal. Yeah. So we talked all this big talking about the music, and it's a half hour and we're still talking about the history. Try to run through this. It is interesting though.
This is Mike's fast version.
It is my fast version. Jesus Christ. So 2 months later, after Dead killed himself, Euronymous opened Helvet, or Hell translated, a record store where the black metal community would hang out and make all their contacts. That community would later be labeled as the Black Circle, especially like in the media, where like the Black Circles are responsible for all these church burnings, blah, 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 blah. Euronymous would convince bands like Emperor and Dark Throne to switch from death metal to black metal, which to his credit, he did really make it seem like this is the thing we're doing. Mm-hmm. And Dark Throne and Emperor were like, two of the best bands that did it, especially to come out of that. So he then opened, or he started his record label, Death Like Silence Productions. I guess Voices of Wonder were their distributor. The Black Circle, before this Morbid Angel show, which was like a big concert, they all desecrated graves like the day before. Mm-hmm. And Tom adds here, they kind of sound like a bunch of assholes, really. They just complete assholes.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing sympathetic about them in any way. You would hate them if you encountered them. You don't want to. They're just like dudes you avoid on the street because like, they're going to start some shit for no reason.
Yeah.
It's like all of them. And then in 1992, Varg burns down, I guess he was the first one. He burned down the Fantoft Norwegian church. And then on August 1st, 92, the Revheim church was torched. August 21st, Holmenkollen church was burned. Ormoyas, Skjold, Hankero, Asane, and Sparsborg. All these churches just fucking burned down. It says there were all in all, there were 45 to 60 attempts by the Black Circle and surrounding black metal community. And then Tom notes here, he says, I think some men were in need of a more constructive outlet for their energies. Don't hold your breath, because after that is in 1993 when Varg killed Euronymous on August 10th. Oh, yeah. Tom says, of course you could talk about the details and events surrounding the killing for hours, but let's not. So off Varg went to prison for 15 years. If you want to know what he's up to now, go subscribe to his YouTube channel. No, sorry, apparently he got barred 4 years ago.
That's about right.
He's banned everywhere just for promoting fucking like straight up neo-Nazism and Odinism or whatever the fuck. You can find plenty of like his rantings online, and if you want to have some fun, dude, I mean, holy shit, like this dude is one of the most unlikable, untrustworthy like voices, because you look at his testimony, and to this, or at least I don't know if it's to this day, but at least in like the book, after he's already been convicted, he's still trying to make the case that it was self-defense when everyone is like, no, dude, he planned the whole thing out. This is how he planned to kill him.
Yeah.
He drove fucking 8 hours to
out of his way.
Yeah. Like Euronymous was like woken up in the middle of the night in his underwear. There's no self-defense. And I have to, but I know I don't want to harp on the story for too long, but it made me laugh so much. Part of his defense, when he was telling one of the interviewers, he said, I have these rifle gloves that were in my pocket. If I was going to kill him, I would have put on the gloves. How come they were in my pocket? Huh? Come on. That's not first degree. I didn't have the gloves on. He didn't have the gloves on, Alex.
Jesus Christ.
It wasn't first degree because he didn't wear the gloves.
I didn't wear the gloves. It wasn't, yeah. Didn't he like also brag about like selling dead the ammo he used?
Yeah. He I think he sent it. I don't even think he sold to him. I think he just gave it to him.
Something, whatever.
Yeah. And they found a bunch of fucking explosives in his home. It's pretty fucking wild.
Like a terrorist.
No, he's actually, basically.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with explosives. He was destroying property. He's
Killed
a murderer.
Someone, yeah.
Yeah, he's a legit fuckhead. But like, what was it? Every other person, it's like there was, in addition to this is how much it was planned. He had it set up to where he left an ATM card for his friend to withdraw money late at night to give him an alibi. They rented a movie that night to pretend that, and there was a movie that they had already seen so they could describe what happened in the movie if they needed to. All these like steps, but they made a mistake that he left the wrong card, so it didn't work. Either way, there was a bloodbath. I mean, he left fingerprints, and then eventually, I think it was Blackthorn who helped plan the murder. He just sold him out. He's like, they're gonna fucking find out, dude. He left a bunch of evidence. We're done. Yeah. So he went to prison for 8 years.
Sounded like Johnny Cochran needed to make a trip to Norway.
I don't think he needed to work that hard.
If the gun gloves don't fit,
if the glove guns don't fit,
then you must acquit.
So we get we mentioned that Necrobutcher is on the first EP. And we don't get him again until after Euronymous is dead, after the first album, after everything is different. Tom brings it up here and he says, notice that between 1991 and 94, Jorn Necrobutcher Stuberud was gone from the band. I can't remember the source, but from what I remember, he was horrified by the death of Dead and how Euronymous used the events for promotional purposes. And this is from a Necrobutcher in 2019. He says, and forgive the broken English. I imagine it's not his first language. He says, I can tell it right now because I've been holding it in for many years. But actually, I was on my way down to kill him myself, meaning Euronymous. And what had happened, I saw the morning paper thinking, fuck, I got to get home to my place and get out all the weapons and drugs and shit I had in my house because they're coming to my house because I'm probably going to be the number one suspect for this. But little did I know that the Norwegian police had already knew that Count Grishnak, Varg, was going down also to kill him because they bugged his phone and he actually talked about this killing before he went to Bergen. So the cops already knew that he was coming. So they probably were thinking to themselves, we didn't nail this guy for the church burnings. So let's nail him for murder and get rid of this fucking guy in Oslo at the same time. So that's basically what happened.
Just like Al Capone. No.
Just like Al Capone. Listen, we're going to murder a guy, but those church burnings are the ones we're really mad about.
We're going to get Varg on tax evasion.
Dude. Man, imagine if he did that shit in America. He'd be fucking raped in prison. My God. Tom says, thankfully from this point on, the band focused on making incredible music, which I think we can all rejoice that this is some good stuff here. And that's basically the history. Suicide, murder, desecration,
suffocation, no breathing.
Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding.
Holy shit. That song is about mayhem.
Last Resort by Papa Roach is about mayhem.
That is the most black metal song ever.
Oh my God. So I'm so yeah, that was a lengthy intro and still the abridged version. I'm sure he missed stuff, but this is what this fucking band is all about. It's literal mayhem. But now onto the music. Finally, we're only going to be talking about music from here on out.
Thank God.
I promise. We're going to be covering
Satan.
Yeah, whoever. We're going to be covering 6 albums in one EP. First EP, 1987, of course, and then the last, most recent album, 2019. They're still touring. They're still active, but it's Halloween, baby, and we want to talk about some spooky stuff.
Although you could argue it's mostly Halloween year-round here, but
where?
This podcast.
Oh yeah, we cover a lot of Morbid stuff. Yeah, we should cover the band Morbid. I'm sure there's like one demo.
Really regret wasting a normal episode on White Zombie.
Oh yeah, that would have been a good Halloween one. Oh,
anyways.
Anyway, let us jump into these records. You ready?
I'm ready.
Hell yeah! This is 1987's Deathcrush. This is like a staple Mayhem song in the early years.
I thought this album or EP was going to sound like dog shit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound amazing.
No. This is not bad.
No.
It could sound worse.
Yeah. We've covered worse.
Oh, 100%. Rough. Those drums are, that's no Hellhammer, I'll tell you that. So that's Maniac on vocals, and we're going to see him again, but he is shrieking like, in a way that I've never heard from this year.
He's
1987.
Yeah. I do appreciate how him and Attila, yeah. I do appreciate how different they are.
Way different. Most of the vocals we get are very different. So it is 87 as fuck. This is basically like the earliest type of death metal. This is like, Possess, Seven Churches, Scream Bloody Gore Death, or something like. It's not as tight as that. Not nearly as tight as that or as good as that, I don't think, but it's still I think it's pretty solid.
I almost gave it personal favorite.
Me too. I like it. Quite a bit.
It's just like, geez, why have I been putting this off for so long? Like,
I didn't even think it would be like a necessary thing to cover, but I'm glad we did because it's very interesting. Also, we got to talk about that opening track.
Oh yeah.
So the opening track is called Sylvester Anfang.
Yeah.
And it's a composition by Konrad Schnitzler, who is like a known electronic German composer.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So the story is apparently Euronymous stalked his house for like a long time until Conrad like invited him inside, and Euronymous was like, "Can you make a song for it? Can you make us like an opener?" And he's like, how about I just give you one of these?
Yeah.
So he just gave him one of his old songs that he wasn't using to get rid of them. And that's the intro.
Okay, that explains a lot because it's this very like tribal, orchestral sounding thing.
But it's still electronic. It's still like altered.
Yeah, the drums are like very clearly electronic.
It's really interesting though. It's actually kind of cool.
It's what like hooked me, and I was like, what else is going on here?
Yeah, I've never in my fucking life heard something like that on a metal record. The closest thing would be like a Celtic Frost with the weird hip hop stuff.
Oh man, what a wacky
stuff. But even then, this is still completely different. It's very cool.
Also, shame to myself that I now like a song called Chainsaw Guts Fuck.
Chainsaw Guts Fuck. It's pretty cool.
It's surprisingly sludgy.
Yep. I dig it a lot. It's really headbangy. Yeah, sludgy, slower.
Witching Hour's more like a proper like black metal song.
Well, that's a Venom cover.
Oh, okay.
So that one, it's back to the being faster. It's pretty fucking sloppy. This whole thing is very sloppy. That drummer is he's pretty average. I don't mind the song. I like the song. I don't think it's a very good cover, and it kind of sticks out because it's not. Everything that is Mayhem is hideous and ugly and fucked up sounding. And then Witching Hour comes on and it's like, oh wait, this is kind of rocking. Because Venom is a rocking kind of band. So it is a little unusual.
I think like Necrolust is like a certified banger. Like
fantastic.
Yeah. So it like scratches so many itches I have for metal music.
I actually think the speed works really well in that song. It's messy, it's ugly, it's evil, and it has like a lot of thrashy moments. Like early death metal had a lot of thrash in it. I mean, because thrash was pretty established in '87, and death metal was barely existing, and barely being invented. So, yeah, this is death metal, but it's the vocals are one thing where it's like, all right, there's no death metal bands doing anything like that. They even bands like Possessed, who were still really early. They weren't shrieking like this.
Yeah.
This is like full on. I mean, it's high.
Yeah. Maybe like one of the earliest cases of like extreme screeching metal vocals.
Yeah. Or really high pitch. And yeah. You got Weird Mannheim.
I love how this album is just like bookended with weird shit.
Dude. So on streaming, it's fucked up. It's supposed to be 2 songs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's Weird Mannheim, which is the weird piano synth thing, and then the song is Pure Fucking Armageddon, which is like one of their staples in early days. So like the black metal song is Pure Fucking Armageddon, but Mannheim, Weird Mannheim, what the hell is that? I mean, it's an instrumental synth piano thing.
I said I wasn't going to bring them up, but I can't help myself. People want to say Death Heaven is in black metal when this is one of the most Death Heaven like sounding songs.
Yeah.
Like it's technically in like black metal DNA.
Yeah.
You guys are just upset you didn't do it.
Yeah. We still love Death Heaven. Yeah. And then Pure Fucking Armageddon, I think is a pretty cool song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it rips. It's a very simple, very brief EP. And by simple, I mean like it kind of gets in and gets out. It's not really like, it's still weird.
It's just very like solid and primal. And like, I thought like for sure this was going to be the worst thing we listened to, but
yeah,
it's great. If you're a fan of like extreme music, I think it's neat.
I think I see how influential it was. It makes complete sense. Like, especially if you have a background in like shitty thrash the way I do, where like there's a lot of rough thrash that I was really into. This is like, oh yeah, this is just an extension of that, a more brutal version of that.
Yeah, I'm still working out my feelings on thrash, but yeah, like I like this a lot more than like thrash albums.
It is more interesting, especially vocally.
Yeah.
And with the crazy fucking intro and keyboard stuff. I mean, it's a cool EP. And this is for many fucking years until the next album because of all the complications. This is 87. The next album is in 94. So there's a couple of reasons why that happened, which we did talk about. But cool EP, worth checking out, especially if you're interested in this early era of black metal in its entirety. Are you ready for the big one?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Here we go, baby. I'm gonna pronounce this wrong because I don't speak fucking Latin or whatever. This is the one, everybody. This is 1994's De Mysteriis Dom Sathanas. Coming in at 10.
Yes. I have some funny quotes from the band about also not speaking Latin later on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just such an ugly fucking riff. So ugly.
Yeah.
And here, now black metal is invented. Like this is what I think of.
The blasting, the chugging.
Not even the blast, because there's like this blasting and then there's death metal blasting.
Oh, God,
This is a slower, it's a really fast 1-2 beat. And then these melodic, double-picked, single-note guitar lines. Melodic, but still ugly. I want to get to these Attila vocals.
We have to get to the vocals.
Yeah, he's a wild singer.
Because, this is like credited for creating black metal, but I've never heard anyone sing like Attila.
Yeah, like
no one tried to
exactly.
rip that guy off.
When you think of black metal, you think of shrieking and screeching. This guy doesn't do either. I mean, sometimes.
Yeah.
But these songs are pretty layered, though, so it takes a while to get to it. God, this riff fucking rules.
I thought that was like you mimicking.
I know.
That's how we get. Dude, holy shit.
It's insane.
Yeah. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Dude, no one sings like that.
Nobody.
Holy shit, dude.
I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I'm just going to give this best.
Best personal favorite. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I can't fucking help it. There's so much about this that I've learned to love in my older years, my older than I was years. Because I've listened to this album a lot of times throughout the years, and it never really clicked. And now I'm just like, it's fucking that good.
This is my first time giving it.
Oh, really?
Like proper listen, and ultimately for me, like nothing is gonna be as weird or as creative as this is, and I think to try to replicate it would be a mistake anyways.
Yeah,
I think just gotta like let it go. It's like this is lightning in a bottle that can never be replicated.
This is pure black metal, really.
Yeah,
and it's kind of incredible. So now we have the most infamous lineup in all of maybe recorded music history. So we have Attila Chahar on vocals, who he'll return later on. He's like their most prominent vocalist. I think he's been on the most records.
Yeah, no disrespect to Dead. No, I'm sure he wouldn't mind the disrespect. But to me, Attila is like
he sounds kind of the best.
Yeah.
I think I like Dead's vocals the most, just because I think I do like Attila's vocals the most because they're so weird.
This guy's like not content doing any one thing.
Yeah. He's always like groaning and moaning and making these weird sounds, and the rhythm of it feels so like it doesn't sound like he's even in the same dimension as the rest of the band.
That's a good way.
It's a very weird.
It's a beautiful way to put it.
Thank you. And
he's so Lovecraftian horror.
He's kind of a horror, yeah. Because you listen to Dead's vocals on the live stuff, and it's way more concrete. Like he's doing the growls and the noises, and he sounds cool, but it's easier to hold on to. He's more of like a singer. This guy seems like he's a goblin on these songs. Like there's just kind of coming in whenever he feels like. It's really weird, interesting style.
Don't feed this guy after midnight.
Do not. So he's a little gremlin, dude. So we got Attila on vocals. We got, of course, Euronymous on guitar. We got Varg on bass, and we got Hellhammer on drums. And a lot of like the writing, Necrobutcher co-wrote some like something like 5 tracks, and he wrote all the lyrics to Cursed in Eternity. Dead wrote the lyrics for like a chunk of songs, Funeral Fog, Freezing Moon,
It's
Life Eternal.
It's cool, even though they're not on the record proper, that like their DNA is still in the band.
Yeah, definitely. And Blackthorn, accomplice of the murder, he wrote some riffs and some lyrics for like From the Dark Past, as well as the title track. And actually, apparently, according to the wiki, From the Dark Past has riffs taken from his band Thorn, from their demo, Grimmerk. It's spelled with a bunch of Y's. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but so like all these songs are over the course of many years finally put into album form, and this came out in 94 after everyone is gone and dead. Dead actually halted the process because he was supposed to record on the album, and then he killed himself, and then they set everything off. So that they kind of fucked things up. Some other like notes here, like the cover is a monochrome photo of the east side of the Nidaros Cathedral in Trondheim, Norway, which I think Varg planned on exploding.
Of course
I think at least that's what I remember reading. Thankfully they caught him before he could do that.
Let me just say, I don't like organized religion, but these wooden churches are like really beautiful.
The stave churches of Norway, most of the ones all the ones that they burned down, they are literally my favorite architecture in the world.
Yeah.
I think they're the most gorgeous buildings ever made.
It's burning down pieces of art.
It's burning down incredible pieces of art.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I get you're trying to be edgy to do your fucking thing, whatever. But as a fucking full-on art psycho and honestly fucking lame dude, because I'm obsessed with art. No forgiveness.
I mean, we're talking about the lamest dudes today.
They are pretty lame. But those churches, the only reason why I want to go to Norway is to see those buildings in person because they're so amazing looking. So yeah, you fuck yourself, whatever. But back to the album. So this is the only album in the history of the world, at least according to Tom, said he couldn't find any other examples. The only album where a member on the album killed another member on the album.
Yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
yeah. And it was, this was delayed for a good while because of all the stuff. And I believe even like, Euronymous' parents didn't want this to be released, or they wanted something to be re-recorded or something like that. And I think I might be misremembering this. Someone correct me. I think one of the members said that they would like re-record the parts and then didn't. Like they wanted to re-record. The parents wanted them to re-record Varg's bass parts, and then they're like, I think they saw it as like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. Like, we're leaving his bass parts on there. And well, you can't really hear the bass that much on the song, so it doesn't matter that much, other than for lore purposes. But let's go back to the music.
Yes. I never really, while listening to Cursed in Eternity, I've never really thought about like, it's this blazing fast music and the vocals can get away with being like the slowest thing ever. It's an interesting juxtaposition there.
It is unusual. That's like that's like the backbone of like this early black metal.
Yeah, you're talking about how good the textures are. I think that song is a good example. There's some nice textures going on there. It's
wonderful. And there's a blasting section there that sounds fucking great. And then there's this guitar line around 2 minutes 50 that is glorious. I find it to be exemplary of what black metal does well. Like this, when I think of good black metal, I think of like that kind of guitar line. And really, as much of like, as much as whatever you think about Euronymous, like it's a cool style. He came up with a fucking cool style.
Yeah. I think my favorite song on the album's Pagan Fears.
Ooh.
It just like resonates through my soul or lack of soul.
Maybe. We have a little bit less soul after hearing these albums, that's for sure. Killer opening to that song. I love it. More high speed stuff. Rules.
Nasty.
Very nasty. It's a killer track. We have to talk a little bit about Freezing Moon because it's like their most famous song, perhaps. At least the one that I've encountered the most in my life. I would say potentially one of the best intros in all of black metal.
Yeah. I almost skipped over that. I'm glad you brought it up. It's like sections of it feature less like blast beats and more like this like crushing kind of groovy stuff.
Yeah. That one goes a little bit more mid-paced and groovy. It does have the blasting stuff and very fast stuff, but
I think those are like particularly on that song, like some of my favorite guitar solos in black metal.
Yeah. There aren't
not
too
really
many.
an expert. No.
In this discography, there aren't too many guitar solos in general.
Which I didn't even realize till I got to the last one.
Same. There's a little bit on here and it sounds great. And Freezing Moon it's like an iconic, it's a classic black metal song. It still rules. It's whenever, it hasn't happened often, but the few times someone has asked me like, well, what's black metal like? I'll put on Freezing Moon.
Yeah.
And that's really what
like
it is.
The textbook definition.
What is it? Life Eternal. Goddamn, another really great intro. A lot of good intros on this album.
Yeah. It's also like, it's such like a brutal, unrelenting genre. So like, it's always nice that song, surprisingly like melodic riffs, and vocal performances. There's even like some riffs in that song where I'm like, this has more in common with like an Iron Maiden song than like this pure goblin ugliness going on. Moments
of levity. Nothing here is light, even a little bit. There's no lightness, but there's moments of musicality, 100%. And those moments are really, dare I say, catchy. Like there's this breakdown at 3:45 on that song.
That's the part I know.
It's so fucking good. I mean, it's melodic and it's unsettling at the same time. To me, that's what makes black metal fucking great. Like I wish that section went on way longer. Killer track. The Del pedaling on From the Dark Past sound awesome.
That combined with Buried by Time and Dust are the ugliest, nastiest stretch of the album, which is saying something.
It's really chaotic. It's a lot. I mean, Jesus, there's so much here. And then it closes with the title track, which is good hi-hat work on the drums. It's like full on horror movie guitar lines.
It's one of the greatest title tracks ever because I feel like more often than not, title tracks disappoint. And this one's carrying a lot of weight because it's a title track and it's like the closing track.
Yeah.
So it has two jobs and it fucking nails it.
It is a wild song. I think that's Attila's most sadistic performance on the album.
Yeah, it's like runs the gamut of all these like weird vocals. There's even this like borderline goth singing he does.
He does. Yeah. He does that on later albums too, when he comes back, but it almost sounds like he's fucking crying at times. It's really weird.
And we heard a little bit of that on like the Celtic Frost thing, like Warriors, like almost like wailing, like, oh
yeah.
Sorry, that was this Paul Bear. But Euronymous.
Fucking around 3:20. There's this big ass section in the title track that almost sounds like a black metal version of Danny Elfman's Batman score.
Oh fuck, that's probably why I like it so much.
Fucking rips, dude. I think the song actually ends a little bit anticlimactically, a little bit quick, but it's still a hell of a closer. Yeah, I mean, and also one thing that I want to gush a little bit about the production. The production is perfect.
In my head, also, I think like due to like a smattering of like death metal, a friend unsuccessfully tried to get me to listen to when I was younger. I thought this genre was just like known for having dog shit production.
Yeah.
And it kind of is like,
yeah, I listen to a lot of Dark Throne records. They sound pretty rough.
Yes. And I just like thought that's what it is. And this is not that.
No. It doesn't sound bad. It doesn't sound like polished or good. That's like part of it. It's cold and lonely and spacious. It sounds like they're in this tomb.
Sounds like Norway.
Very cold. It's clear enough to where you can like enjoy it. It's not like what's the fucking Ruins of Beverest album that sounds like shit.
It's
like their second album.
Yeah.
And it's full of great songs, but it's just unlistenable. It's so badly recorded.
I think there's like a joke that you could like record black metal drums on pillows. Like,
use a fucking old cassette recorder and there it is, your album. But here it's not going to hurt your ears anyway. It sounds balanced and clean, but it's cold and lonely and kind of scary sounding. It's a very interesting production.
Between this album cover and the Emperor album cover with the like Lord of the Rings one, sorry, I forgot the name.
And the Night's Out Eclipse. I believe that's what it's called.
Not enough metal bands tapping into the color blue. It is efficient for
this one, it's got like it's blue. It's got maybe like a purple tint sort of touch of it, but mostly blue, monochromatic photograph of the church. It's a very cool cover. Yeah, that Emperor cover. I mean, it's also really funny. Like you get this super evil, scary black metal album. It's like, we're gonna have Lord of the Rings on the cover. It's like, what?
Well, yeah, I think like weird white dude, but like maybe borderline racist. They're like kind of obsessed with Lord of the Rings for some reason. It's like Viking mythology. Like it's a shame. And Magic the Gathering came out with a Lord of the Rings set, and Aragorn is a black man, and
didn't go well over, I imagine.
The meltdown these man children had was quite the scene. Y'all leave Lord of the Rings and Vikings and stuff out of that. That shit's cool.
Well, I am only going to watch the movies anyway, so Viggo Mortensen is my Aragorn.
Have you watched The Northman?
No.
I'm gonna let you borrow that next time I see you.
Okay.
If I remember, because I keep forgetting to bring you things.
That's right. I
bring you food sometimes.
I'm glad you don't forget that. That is scrumdiddlyumptious. But yeah, this album fucking rules. It's tight, but it feels messy as shit. Like you show this to any newbie with metal, any person who doesn't like metal, they're gonna say it's a mess. This is
not Baby's first metal album. This is not Master of Puppets or even Rain and Blood.
Not even.
I think Master of Puppets is more friendly than Rain and Blood.
Rain and Blood is less friendly, but it's still really accessible for metal.
Yeah.
Like this is one of the most niche genres of metal already. And then you get this perfect example of like this will turn off the vast majority of human beings in the world. Yes. Not even just fans of XYZ. Like this is never put this on in front of anybody, but
Scaring the Hose
by Danny Brown and JPEG Mafia. But it's still, I think it's a fucking killer album. I don't think it has a single bad song on it. It has a feeling to it. And I don't mean like some hokey, you could feel like the evil because the murder. No, I mean something more abstract and artsy. Like there's something just in the recording of it, the way the presentation, the way it feels as a whole, just as a piece of music. The history behind it is really interesting and really morbid, but
even without that,
doesn't need it.
No, it
doesn't need it.
That's what we're trying to say.
I tend to forget that that's even like that when I'm listening to the album too. I tend to forget what's on the album.
I'm not thinking about those things.
Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people are, but
I'm sure they are. So Tom asked this question, one of which we already addressed, which is like, is there any other albums where or any other bands where one member killed another member? He couldn't find anything. I can't think of anything. I don't know any fucking examples, but he also asks, He says right here, can anyone think of another individual other than Varg who's had such a gigantic impact on a band's trajectory and public image while arguably having had relatively little impact on their music?
Sid Vicious.
Sid Vicious is the perfect answer. I'm glad you said it because I don't think I would have come up with it that fast.
But yeah, it's still not as, because Sex Pistols were like one and done. This is a band that decided to continue. So
if this was a one, well,
I get
it still counts.
I get what Tom is saying, and I would argue. But yes, I think like Sid Vicious is
a perfect example. He stunk as a bass player. He replaced one of the founding members who I think helped write the music, Glenn Matlock. He just had the perfect image, and it was the perfect moment in time. He just had all, and then Varg, of course, contributed nothing other than recording the tracks for it and then causing drama and then murder. But yeah, that's a good question too. I'm sure there are many other examples, but Sid Vicious is a perfect example. But Alex and I, both of our best, and it's my best and personal favorite. I genuinely enjoy it. I'm not even making that up or lying. Like I did like it. It's crazy.
I don't feel like that's surprising for us by now.
For any normal person, they won't understand it. It is pretty wild.
God help you if this is your first time.
Oh, yeah. Don't start here. Oh, goodness. But we have plenty more to cover. Where things change and there's no crazy fucking murders. There's no drama. Well, I'm sure there's drama, but whatever. We're moving on. So this is big gap, baby. Big gap. New lineup. Obviously, this is 2000's Grand Declaration of War.
Quick note: I am playing the 2018 remix.
Good.
Because it sounds 100 times better.
So much better.
I know you've gone on, pun intended, record where certain versions sounds. This is the biggest difference.
This is a huge difference. We'll talk about it after the song.
This song, if you're familiar with the original version, it's already better.
It's already better.
The drums sound like fucking dog shit.
The drums sound a lot better here. It's pretty wild. But also, this is a different band. This is way more intense. And tighter. Way tighter.
They sound more like a modern band.
They sound like death metal, honestly. But cool riffs. Love that riff. Pretty sick. Yeah. I have no idea when vocals are coming in.
Never. This is a very like epic cinematic opener.
Yeah, it's fucking great though. Very evil. There are vocals on this song, but they take a while.
Yeah.
There we go. That's Maniac. He's back. Also very traditional black metal vocals. Okay, just wanted to get to the vocals. Very clear and upfront compared to what we've gotten.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty cool album, honestly.
This is bonkers.
Yeah,
really.
It's pretty wild. So we talked a little bit during the song. The difference, the version that you'll find streaming is the 2018. It's a full-on remix. It's not even a remaster.
Yeah, you can find the garbage version too, though.
I listened to both, but I didn't know it was streaming. I found it on YouTube.
Because it's drastically different album, and the remix, like they're both.
Oh yeah, even the covers are completely different.
I just thought it was a different album at first glance. So
the original mix is fucking. So this one was this one is like really dry and very like a death metal production. There's no space, there's no reverb on anything. All there is, but very slight. The original has these really punchy, high pitch kick drums that are really distracting. The tons and tons of reverb on the snare only. It sounds really tacky and messy. It's a very wet sounding album. It sounds like cheap and digital kind of. It's a very thin sounding album. The remix significantly better across the board.
Yes.
But anyway, now to the actual songs. This is fucking wild.
Insane, really.
We have almost the entire lineup of the Deathcrush EP. We have Maniac on vocals, Necrobutcher is back on bass, Hellhammer is on drums still, and then we have Blasphemer on guitar. And they sound, this album and the next one kind of sound death metal.
I guess, technicalities, I'm like a little hazy, especially because like a lot of like when I was younger, I really liked those like Swedish metal bands, like a band like In Flames or Arch Enemy, and I didn't consider them death metal. I'm sure they were influenced by that, so I thought more like those bands.
Okay. Also, I didn't realize all the music is composed by Blasphemer, which is interesting. That
is crazy.
New guy comes in and writes all the music,
and he's a madman. And I think, like, speaking to like how insane Hellhammer is, I know he's had a few years to practice.
Oh yeah.
But like the next track, In the Lies Where Upon You Lay.
Oh yes.
Like it starts off really brutal, but then there's like clean speaking parts. And like he's playing like these like fancy 16th note beats. Like it's incredible, jarring compared to the last album.
It's a completely different band, both literally and spiritually, because these songs are insanely tight. I mean, over the top complex, a million riffs, very death metal in that sense, but still the riffs themselves are very much black metal sounding. A little bit more on the evil side, a little bit more on the dissonant and like creepy side. The moments where Maniac goes clean or spoken word are pretty goofy.
Yes.
And I can't help but fucking laugh, and I don't think they're that great.
Let's get to the goofiest. Let's get to the elephant in the room. I need to know how you feel about A Blood Sword and Colder Sun.
Part one, you mean, right? Because there's a lot of these songs are split into two parts.
I don't know why. They're not even that long.
No, it could have been one song. So part one is this spoken word thing. I think it's pretty hilarious and not that great. I don't like it. I think it's too goofy for me.
I'm gonna pull a Robert and say I like this song.
Really?
It's like whispery and echoey.
Yeah.
It's like very prog rock, and then it kind of turns into a trip hop song.
So part two is where it becomes like the Nine Inch Nails-y industrial trip hop kind of thing. I think that fucking actually rules.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the
beginning,
the first part
one, and then
part two. I think is actually I was not expecting. I think it's
I was not expecting that at all.
Oh yeah, I think it's great.
Like if I wasn't already on board, towards the end, there's fucking robot. So that has sealed the deal.
Sealed the deal, dude. It's like a dark evil fuck music.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I mean. I can't believe how strong it is.
Yeah, if Typo Negative didn't exist, who are the kings of evil fuck music?
They really are. Check out that episode. It's a really cool song. They'll dabble with stuff like that once in a while, but maybe like 2 or 3 times total. Fucking cool song. The vocals on Crystallized Pain and Deconstruction are a bit annoying. I kind of wish he would stick to shrieking.
I like those guitar riffs so much. I don't even care.
Pretty cool. It's a satisfying song. It's not so aside from songs like, you know, a Blood Sword and A Colder Sun Part 2, most of it it's very samey. I mean, it's crazy blasting, a million riffs, ugly, pissed off, dissonant.
This is a messy album, but there's just like enough peppering of insanity. There's enough sriracha added to this meal that I am like,
there it is. And it's, I don't know why it works so well. A lot of it just feels really good. There's sung vocals in Completion and Science of Agony Part 1.
I love that song so much. It could be like a doom metal song.
Yeah, there's a lot of doom moments.
Yeah. I think like if a band like Saint Vitus or like Candlemass did that song, I think that song would be like more solidified, like considered like a classic metal song.
It's fucking pretty rad. His sung vocals, by the way, really remind me of Peter Murphy from Bauhaus. Check out that episode.
Random comparison to Dominion.
To Daemonian.
Daemonium. Like, not the way it sounds, but the execution of the like talking parts made me think of like the way Darren kind of does his talking parts.
In System.
Yeah, and I know he's a black metal guy, so I almost wonder.
Explains why I don't like it. Yeah, I fucking don't. I like I think the song is great. The clean vocals, I don't like them.
Yeah, he doesn't do like the high pitched things Darren does, but like the way they execute their like syllables.
There's like a whininess to it, to the way they say it. It's like it's not spoken straight or anything. It's a inflection.
It's a weird comparison. No one's gonna listen to that and think a System of a Down unless you're a fucking weirdo like me.
But that song almost has a punk energy to it. I mean, relatively. This is not a punk album, obviously.
Yeah, I would say this genre doesn't really have like. I wouldn't consider the songs like rippers. It's like they're fast and they're violent, but they're not like high energy a lot of the times the way this song is. Yeah,
it's pretty intense. And it's not like a lot of these songs have stuff where I'm like, all right, I kind of dip in and out, but it ends up winning me over in the end. Like that one is a good example of that. The way this album is made up is confusing and annoying because after To Daemonian, you get two more tracks called, To Daemonian Parts 2 and 3, and they're just silent.
Yeah,
they equal out to 6 minutes of silence. For no reason.
They even included it on the remix album.
Yeah,
but I think they're just called Untied.
Yeah.
So stupid.
It's just annoying. So you skip it, and then it ends with Completion and Science of Agony Part 2. It's very brief. It's kind of unnecessary, but I think it's decent. It's got robot vocals all over it, which is pretty cool. But oh no, I was not expecting this album to sound this way.
No. Me either. And part of it that took me out had to do with how bad it was. And then I listened to the remix one. I'm like, I'm not really in favor of like George Lucasing your work.
Oh yeah.
As long as the original is available, because I'm sure someone loves the original.
Keep the original. Fucking people who remastered Derp Alice in Chains. For the love of God, keep the original.
But I'm going 2018 version.
100%. I actually heard the 2018 version first, and I didn't realize there was a different version. I went back.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah. You had the reverse journey that I did.
Indeed. So yeah, sometimes they like Megadeth's first album, that remix or remaster, it's like, oh, they did a great job. Mm-hmm. Holy shit. It sounds so much better. I don't like how they did it with Peace Cells so much, but Megadeth is a different band. Yeah, I'd say it's flawed, but a strong album. And it really reminds me a lot of death metal more than I was ever expecting. Explosive performances, explosive and tight as shit. But ultimately, like the vocals are pretty hit or miss for me. The pacing is a little bit off. I don't love everything on here, but I think it's still pretty consistent and brutal, and it works.
This is kind of weird and messy and spicy sometimes.
Yeah.
And Yeah.
Yeah. This is released on Season of Mist, which was formed in 1996 in France and the US, which focused on extreme metal. Tom notes here, artists past and present on the roster include Abath, Atheist, who I think is pretty underrated. I like one of their albums quite a bit. Benighted, Gorguts, Ken Mode, Necrophagia, Riding Christ, Saint Vitus, check out that episode, and Weed Eater.
Love me some Weed Eater.
Never listened to him.
They do one thing and they do it real well. And man, I think I've heard like one Gorguts album. It's really good. I should revisit that.
Hell of a label.
I think Necrofag, they have a very short, they may be like a contender for a future episode.
Ooh, interesting. Hell yeah. But a solid return, a completely different band, a new beginning, one less violent. But now we're on to the next, if you're ready.
I am ready.
Hell yeah. There's usually pretty big gaps in between each album. This is 4 years later. This is 2004's Chimera.
Pretty local.
Yeah. Not used to this Polish production.
Yeah. This is pretty clean production. Same lineup as the previous album.
They're definitely trying to be uglier.
Yes. For example, this song is called Whore. Although Swans had a song called Whore. Whore. This is weirdly clean. For extreme music. Those vocals are
they're gonna make me laugh. They're way too in there for me.
Worsley's favorite.
Holy shit! How the fuck did we agree on this episode? I can't believe
of all the bands.
I was for a while like, I have no idea what I'm gonna give worse, and then it was just so obvious to me in the end. Like it was.
Oh yeah, once they wrapped up.
Yeah.
Well, no, this was in contention for a bit.
For me as well.
It's kind of not fair to compare to the first album, but this is this kind of by the numbers metal.
Yeah, this is like, forgive me, stock extreme metal.
Very good playing on this album.
Extremely. I mean, it's unbelievable playing.
It's this, nothing really sticks with me, and there's nothing like as crazy or as experimental as like the last album. So it just ends up being like that opening song, it kind of grates on you. I kind of ventures into like almost like technical death metal. I do like those riffs, but they're very few and far between. This
feels like the most death metal album they've ever done, and it's weird to me. Like the blasting here is fucking nuts. I mean, the blasting is actually gonna get more crazy in the future, but it's still pretty fucking nuts here.
Mm-hmm.
But it all just registers as death metal. I like death metal, but also with a lot of, especially technical death metal, you hear like a lot of really interesting, crazy things happening. This is just ugly riff after ugly riff after ugly riff.
It also doesn't help that I think the best song is like track 2. So like,
oh really? You like that one, Dark Night of the Soul?
Yeah, I think that one is actually like really good. It's more sludgy. It's like sludge, black metal, some like tech or math rock, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like that one is the best to me.
It is pretty crazy, and so the reason I don't care for it is like, I mean, the riff at the very, very end is pretty fucking great. But at this point, when that song comes on, it's like all the creepiness that I associate with black metal is gone. It's replaced by just dissonant, aggressive, and ugly.
And also, yeah, it's just like, this is, it's a band filled with edgelords, but like, this is the most like edgelord like song titles.
Oh, Rape Humanity with Pride. I mean, it's like I get what you're trying to do.
I found out St. Vincent is a fan of that song though.
Interesting. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with her, but
she likes Big Black and Mayhem, she's the same as us.
She is the same as us, which is why I think there's something wrong with her. But
Except she gets to share a stage with a woman like Dua Lipa sometimes.
who's that?
She's like a pop singer. She's beautiful. There's like a Grammy performance with Dua Lipa in St. Vincent. I wasn't expecting to go down this road.
Nor was I.
And they both like, they're not like grinding or dancing on each other, but there is like this layer of like sexual tension the way they're like performing the song.
Gotta sell it, baby. Gotta sell it.
And I'm like, that's like the hottest thing ever. And they're not like I said, it's not like a Britney Spears type performance, or I guess more modern, like Doja,
we're old.
Doja Cat, where there's like twerking or they're like scandally clad. They both have this energy. So, because I don't know why I would ever bring that up again, let alone on an episode about Mayhem. Too much.
You want to get chubbed up? Watch the Grammy performance.
Look up that Grammy performance. Too much dude energy here.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Anyways,
So back to Rape Humanity with Pride.
yes.
So it's like I actually do like a lot of the licks in that opening riff. There's some cool guitar lines,
Mhm.
and then around halfway, this really cool sleazy riff comes in. It's not very evil, but it's catchy. It's a bit much, but it's not a bad song.
Yeah, it's just overall the like you said, it's cool here and there, but it's not enough to like carry a whole song. I think that's also the first time they'll start using like male operatic vocals, which will be like a thing they continue to do
Every
for the
now and
rest of their
then.
career.
Yeah, I don't like that choice in black metal to do the operatic. It's always funny to me.
Like I've confessed before, I've listened to Cradle of Filth, so that's this.
You're indoctrined.
I'm in Doctrine,
Yeah.
and then I know people like Dimmu Borgir.
Do you remember Gear or Bridget? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Either.
Either way,
Yeah.
man, My Death, that song let me down so bad.
Wait, why?
I love the way that the toms sound on the drums.
Oh,
Very early into the song, I love the way those toms sound, and I just wanted it to like sound as good as those toms sound.
I don't mind it. I wasn't expecting so much sleaziness on this album. There's a lot of that song opens up with a big sleazy riff. And then of course it goes into more traditional ugly stuff, but very slow and heavy. It's got this prominent ride bell, and then I like the little spooky breakdown around like a little past the halfway point. And it's fine. It's nothing life changing, but I think it's. I mean, that's how I feel about all the songs I like in there. It's like, it's fine.
Yeah, another Slaughter of Dreams. Like towards the end, there's some like double drumming going on.
Oh, is there that
and,
one? Yeah,
and I was like, just do it for the whole fucking song because it's like the most interesting part, and it's like 7 minutes.
It's long. So that one really took me out so hard on first look because I was already not big on You Must Fall, which is just like, it's not particularly bad, but it does nothing to distinguish itself, and it's already kind of late in the album. We're getting past the halfway point of the album, and then Slaughter Dreams comes on and it's 7 minutes, and it's like more of the fucking same. And then second listen, I just liked it. Sometimes it just depends on your fucking mood, or sometimes they have to nestle in your head for a little bit, but it was just fine. I like it way more on second listen. I actually think MPS Devious Leper Lord is really damn cool. That might be my favorite song on the album, actually.
There are some very cool bass lines and tones in that song, which I wasn't expecting to say about a black metal band. Yeah,
there's so much character in that solo bass and drum section that kind of it returns to several times. It's really gritty sounding. That bass sounds almost like it's being played through a telephone. It sounds really cool. And I think it's got solid riffs throughout. I think it's my favorite song on the album.
I do think the title track is the like worst offender here. Where it's just like by the numbers, going through the motions, and it's fucking long. Yeah, it's the inverse of fucking Mysteriis Dom Sathanas. Thank you. Yeah, it's the inverse of that song where it's the title and it's the closer. You got to do a lot, and it does so little. Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's one of the weakest, if not the weakest, for me as well.
just doesn't leave any lasting impression. It's not memorable. So the performances and presentation are fucking gnarly and amazing, but the riffs don't cut it for me.
Even the album cover is fucking rad.
Which one? The reissue or the original?
It's like the Blue Devil.
Oh, that was I forgot about this guy. I was thinking about the last album for some reason. Yeah, this album cover is pretty rad. I forget what it's taken from. I wonder if Tom noted it here. He did. So it's a still from the 1922 Swedish silent film Häxan.
I have been meaning to watch that forever.
What? I never even heard of that. What is it?
Yeah, it's like a older horror film. Very like Satan, which is like crazy in 1922 to do. Maybe I'll watch it, but the Lords of Chaos did inspire me to rewatch some Kenneth Anger stuff, even though they only briefly bought him up. But
wait, who's he?
You never watched Kenneth Anger movie?
No.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. It's like lots of like Satanism, occult stuff, and then like there's like homoerotic, so it's like super evil, but it's super gay.
Ah, interesting.
Also, it's crazy because I thought that guy had been dead, and then I found out he just died this year in May. So it was like double. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, they did bring up Kenneth Anger films, so I don't feel like that's as offbeat as like bringing up Dua Lipa.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I suppose that's a little bit more on brand.
Yeah, like Jimmy Page did like music for his film Lucifer Rising. It's all like short films.
Oh shit, interesting. So this album was mastered by Morten Lund, and Tom notes here. He says it's funny how varied the CVs of mastering engineers often are. Morten Lund also worked on the band's Deathcrush EP. I think it was just for a reissue. But this comes in the midst of acts like the Cornflakes, Coldplay, and a lot of it looks like very mild music. But then there's this, an industrial black metal act, Thorns in there, variety is a spice of life, I suppose.
It absolutely is.
Unbelievable. The fact that you're mastering this in Coldplay. I mean, holy hell, dude.
I like to think the singer from Coldplay listened to this album and he's like, give me that guy.
Yeah. This guy.
Get that guy on the phone.
I have a good feeling about this guy. Oh, Morton. But yeah, both of our worst and least favorites. It's just the least memorable. It's just extreme metal. It's very weird to say Mayhem is playing it safe. But they are on this album. If you've heard extreme metal, you've kind of heard this. I don't feel a lot of personality coming from this, and I just don't like the riffs. It's simple as that. But could be a lot worse. It's not like a terrible album, but it is intense. All these are intense. I think it goes without saying. But anyway, on to the next. Yes. Hell yes. Now we are on to 3 years later. This is 2007's, and I believe the return of our boy Attila.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. 2007's Ordo ad Chao. Chao.
It's in fucking right.
It's also to be the last one with blasphemy.
Yep. I imagine the title means order and chaos in English. Just looking at it.
So this production sounds like they're trying to like tap into some older feelings.
Definitely. This production stinks, and I like it.
I wasn't a fan because in my head I was like, oh, is this gonna be kind of regressive? But it fucking works.
It does work.
Also, I think of like how many bands have like tried to like do a return to form and just fail.
Yeah.
And like this isn't exactly the same, but it's really fucking like really good.
Yeah. So this is like a difficult song.
This definitely sets the vibe for the album.
Yes, but it's so intangible. Like, where's the rhythm exactly?
Yeah.
I kind of don't even know where the fucking riff is at all. There's like no bass.
If you run a Halloween maze, you can just have this track playing in the background. And
I think this is a really bad, misleading opener. because it's all spooky. There's no like song to it.
In the like entirety of the album, I kind of dig it.
I think it's my least favorite song on the album, 100%, because I think this album rules.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
Yeah.
I will say, because you were talking about Hellhammer doing impossible things, he did say the drums were not finished on this, and that he also used triggers for the bass drum.
Oh, okay. Interesting. That definitely answers some questions, because Tom pulled some quotes from him from this forum. Where he says, Tom says, I believe that the messages below are legit comments from Hellhammer around the time of the album's release on an extreme drumming forum. Seems to relate to a preview track before the full release. Not sure which one. Yeah, so he's like giving actual insights into like how he recorded it, what he used. Like, he used 3 rides. He says, I used 3 rides on this album.
Mm-hmm.
My trusted Leopard and a custom Phantom ride on the left side of the kit. Added his LG. Yeah, he's very technical, and he seems like a nice guy. A lot of emojis.
Yeah.
Although he is still a psychopath from the early days. Don't get me wrong, he's still a psycho.
Also, I'm glad you pulled that quote, because the last song, Psychic Horns, I was like, I had no idea you could make a ride cymbal sound like a fucking dinner bell.
Oh.
And I'm going to assume that's the mega bell.
Interesting. Well, wait, hold on. Right here, he says there is absolutely no fake or drum machines or something going on. The song we will also play live in our video will be of this. Okay, maybe he just means on this song.
Yeah, or maybe
whatever song they're talking about.
Maybe he's pulling a page of Euronymous.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But the production is holy hell. I mean, it is grimy, is really grimy.
Yeah, I was a little concerned that this would be like a sad attempt at them just trying to reclaim their glory days. But you said all that bullshit and all the lore aside, this is a great black metal album.
It is a good black metal album. It's really, really extreme. I mean, they're all extreme, but the blasting here is so unreal. It's like the most technical of death metal blasting, where it's just, I mean, I guess black metal counts as, I don't know. I listen to more death metal than black metal, as you probably tell, but
this is more of a vibe album for sure. There's songs where I'm like, oh, that's like kind of drony, and Deconcentration is like,
Deconsecrate, you mean?
Deconsecrate, sorry. That is like, I think if you're doing like craziest Attila like vocal performances, I think that's got to be one of them. He
sounds cool. He doesn't sound the same as on the debut.
No. Also, I don't know why I didn't know this. I'm not like surprised. Like, of course, like Sun has used him.
Oh yeah. He's pretty busy.
Yeah,
he's been around, but yeah, a lot of these songs end up bleeding into each other quite a bit, but there's still moments that stand out to me, like Eliminate. Man, God damn, I
think that's the first time he does like the high pitch squeals.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because sometimes like death metal vocals, they remind me of like oinking like pigs.
Yeah, the what are they called? It's like, it's big in grindcore. It's big in grind.
yeah. But this is,
they call them pig squeals. I think they literally call them pig squeals.
This is, if I didn't know any better, this is an actual like pig squealing.
Maybe this dude is fucking nutty enough to do it. But around like 5 minutes 30, it goes to this crazy breakdown. There's really fucked up vocals, creepy whispers, really cool guitar lines. I dig that. And then the outro rules is really mournful and heavy. It's an exhausting song, but it is cool. Yeah.
I will say I did not get as fatigued listening to this band as I thought I would.
Same here. Yeah, I thought I was going to be way more exhausted. But Key to the Storms is fucking nuts. It's pure utter cacophony.
Yeah.
It's like 99% of people will find it unlistenable beyond words. But
we're dealing with black metal fans now.
Yeah. It's like this. So that song, it's not something I want to hear every day, but there's something alluring to it. There's something to the madness of it where it's just done really well. Some of the vocals on Anti are pretty funny.
Yes. I'm not gonna fight that until it does have funny vocals.
Definitely. I mean, it's weird, but they've been using them for a little bit, but they start really using them on this album and like this whole era where tritone chord. Tritone is just like you get the two. I forgot which actual interval it is, but it's just the two ugliest notes and you hit them at the same time. It's like a tritone, and it's just those chords like all over the place. Just like we're gonna hit every wrong note. It's gonna be ugly as shit, but it's a whole album of that. So it ends up coming like hard to distinguish, but there are still moments like on Anti. There's another breakdown like at 3:15. It's one of the fucking coolest moments of the whole album. It has these deep growls, machine gun toms like building everything up, and then it goes into this freakish section after that. I mean, it's punishing, but it's fucking rad. I think it's a great closer. Ends with a bitch ass quick fade out though.
It does.
It's not good. Not good for a closer.
No, for a band or an album that's all about like ambience and vibe setting. You don't want to ruin the vibe with a quick fade out.
Nope. You gotta let it drip. You gotta let it flow, dude. You gotta let it ride.
There's 3 rides on this album and you didn't let it ride.
You didn't let it ride. God.
What a fucking shame.
Damn. Psychic Horns, I'm not big on that one. It's just
I love it.
Oh, really?
Despite saying the ride sounds like a dinner bell, like it's one of the more brutal songs on that album.
It 100% is. I think, if you're already tired, that song is gonna like take it out of you.
I was tired, but that one picked me up for some reason.
Interesting.
That's how I know it resonated with me well.
These songs, a lot of it on the last album as well, like the structures, they're like. The reason why I keep bringing up death metal is because when I think of death metal, I think of haphazard riffs. So like riff. That's how it feels like. I mean, there's no like rhyme or reason to the songs. It's just like crazy riff to crazy riff, crazy section. Like on Psychic Horns, there's like this section at 4 minutes, super snappy that comes in out of nowhere. It's really cool, but it's like there's nothing makes sense on this album. Nothing makes sense. It's just pure chaos.
Which is appropriate.
It is mayhem indeed. I think it's a good album. I mean, despite how cool it is, I don't think any of it's going to stick with me. It's too difficult and too chaotic. There's not like a lot of tangible catchiness. There's no real hooks, but
there was never hooks to begin with.
There were some hooks on that first album.
Okay,
dog. This was pretty, but like I don't know. The production is adds character to it. It feels good. It's produced and performed. I mean. Rather, it's performed like a absolute beast. It's a tough sell, but I think it's fucking cool. I don't know.
I don't think it's a tough sell for extreme music fans. Regular people, sure, but
yeah, maybe you're right.
I think it's fucking cool.
Well, time to move on. We got 2 left.
Do you want to go Blasphemer?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is Blasphemer's last album. I for some reason I thought we were one album after this.
I got you, dog.
So Rune Eriksson, Blasphemer, he left in August 2008, having played his last Norwegian show with the band at Øyafestivalen in Oslo on August 6th. And this is what he said, I guess via Blabbermouth. He says, I've been playing my part in the band now for more than 13 years already, having composed, produced, and released several albums with great vision, dedication, and craftsmanship to arrive at this crossroad of opposites. Sooner or later, all things come to an end, and in my case, this circle is complete. He says, I felt tired of both the touring aspects amidst its turbulence and personal differences, and also my role in the band. So
I would be tired after recording one album. I get it.
One of these albums. I mean, Jesus.
Thank you for your services, Blasphemer.
Yeah. Godspeed, or whatever it is you believe in.
Also, that this kind of sounds like a character in the musical Cats. There's Mr. Mistopheles, there's Busterford Jones, and there's Blasphemer Eriksson.
It's a very interesting cat. Holy shit.
He's the craziest cat.
No kidding. But we got 2 left. You ready?
I'm ready.
Hell yeah. This is 2014's Esoteric Warfare.
superhuman drumming.
Superhuman drumming. I think this is
There's
where
no triggers.
this is where the drumming becomes inhuman.
Yeah.
This is top level drumming. I believe Attila is producing this.
This album caught me so off guard in the best way possible.
It did me as well, yeah. This is extreme. Fuck. There's some deicide dual vocals there.
Instead of the ugly production, it's slightly better.
It's slightly better. It's still kind of shitty though.
Yeah. Fuck. That is cool.
It is cool. Holy shit.
I wanted to give something up for later era, and this is personal favorite. This blew me away. This has no business being this good.
So I was worried for a minute because I enjoyed that way more than my first two listens.
Yeah.
Because the first three tracks, I'm already this is getting overwhelming. It's becoming it's becoming too over the top with the I mean, it's nonstop. There's just too many fucking riffs. It's hard. There's no limit for me to grab onto. And then by track 4 onward, I'm like, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
I mean, the way in my opinion, the way it turns around is pretty unreal.
Yeah. I know I'm becoming a just absolute psychopath when I know I'm hooked from the beginning and you weren't.
Yeah, because dude, the first 3 tracks are intense. I mean, we heard Watchers. I mean, Jesus.
I love Watchers. I'm surprised it took them this long to quote Oppenheimer. On Trinity. I wonder.
Is that when they did? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I wonder if they went to go watch it in IMAX.
I'm sure. I bet they did.
And then towards the end, those are very Gojira guitar patterns.
And I like some Gojira.
Yeah, so I was surprised to hear that, and then Pandemon.
Oh yeah, fuck, dude.
What holy shit! If they play that song live, they're fucking crazy people.
It is pure chaos. The stop and starts in the intro are extreme. I mean, I've never heard a stop and start like that.
Yeah, and then there's mathy guitar riffs.
Yep.
Trademark Attila ugly singing fucking shit.
Yep. It's a wild when that song came on, I was turned okay, there's something here. There's definitely something here. And then Malab comes on. I mean, fuck yes, dude. It's the fucking best, man. It's one of the best.
Yeah, it's more haunting and it's trying more to be haunting and creepy than it is brutal and extreme. The squealing vocals are legitimately upsetting and unsettling as opposed to comical.
Yeah. It's unsettling, but it's weirdly groovy. The great bass and guitar lines, legitimately is one of the most melodic things they've done in a while.
Yeah.
It gets heavy, but it stays in the pocket. It's very mid-pace and it's chunky and it feels good.
I love the band venturing anytime they take a little trip into doom metal territory,
Visek. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
It's great.
Wasn't expecting that. Yeah. It's very cool. I think my favorite song. I mean, I probably between Malab and Posthuman. Posthuman. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's just so fucking cool.
I the guitar does these things. I think it's for sure in the beginning and maybe at the end where it's it's slow and they're doing these creepy frills and it's killer.
Yeah, this is mean bass line, these really twisted guitar lines. It feels so damn cool when it's during the slower, heavier sections. And then it has when it goes brutal, goes fast and brutal, these tritone chords that just they're they're ringing out, but you don't know like when they're coming in, or they feel random. It's somehow that adds to it. It just like, it feels very just unhinged and unpredictable and rabid. And then around halfway it gets doomy again. It just rips.
Yeah. I think the biggest critique I have is the last song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's not bad. It's just not as unique as the rest of the album is. It's like I said, it's not like, it doesn't leave a bad taste in my mouth, but it's also like I can point to the other songs and point out how they're individually insane, and this one is kind of okay.
I like it. Was it Ion Centella?
Yes.
Those vocals are depraved on that song.
Oh, it's Tilla, baby.
Yeah, Tilla's something else. But it's like, it's a little proggy. It's on the slower side, but I actually really like the way it fades out. It fades out with this intensely horrific guitar riff. I think they sound fucking great. By the way, didn't even mention up top, new lineup, of course, since we don't have Blasphemer. Now we have Telok and Ghoul.
The next album on Apple Music, they had some quotes from Telok. And this seems hilarious to me. Like, usually the like track by track breakdowns on Apple Music, once in a while they're insightful, but for the most part it's just kind of like, oh no shit, the song's about heartbreak. I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I love his comments about, I wrote some of them down. Oh,
nice. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. He seems like a genuine, like, hilarious person.
Interesting. Yeah. Tom noted here, he says, apparently Telok is in, he's a former stand-in for Cradle of Filth.
Oh, there we go. That's why I like him.
Wait, no. I'm sorry. That's Ghoul. Ghoul is the former stand-in.
Yeah.
Telok is sometimes guitarist for Gorgoroth. Sorry. And Tom says, seems Blasphemer was so good they had to replace him twice. Yep. Now they got two guitars. And it's the most, I think probably like the most extreme album they have, because it's as extreme as like the last couple, but way more tangible and engaging and memorable. There's like, the riffs here are really interesting. There's way more diversity.
For sure. I think where the last album was more of a vibe, more atmospheric. This is like it captured that atmosphere and then like bought more technical songwriting to it. The
songwriting got way more technical. Speaking of which, who wrote these? I don't know who wrote these songs, because Blasphemer was the main writer and he's gone. And
it might because I know on the next album, Telok and Ghoul wrote a good amount of the next album. So
it's funny how like the original members of Mayhem don't write any of the music.
Yeah,
it's always the new guys.
It's smart though.
They're good songs, but it's fucking bizarre how that's the case. Like,
yeah, Telok wrote most of the album.
He fucking. Yeah, I mean, doing a good job.
Yeah. He wrote most of it, and then Attila wrote the lyrics.
Yeah. It's always the case. The singer writes lyrics, and whatever new guitarist they have in there writes all the music. It's pretty wild. And these are really complicated songs.
Yeah.
With crazy breaks. I wonder how much collaborating is going on in the rehearsal studio. It just makes me wonder how it looks.
Very interesting.
Yeah, but it's
imagine trying to teach people these songs.
You have to be spectacular. That's the only way. You have to be spectacular. But yeah, Alex's personal favorite. It's a fucking cool. I mean, first listen, I was like, this is really actually good. And I thought it was a fluke. I thought it was just going to be a mood thing, and I went back to it. It's pretty goddamn fun. Intense, of course, like every album, but pretty fucking rad. But we got one more.
Yes, sir.
Now we're in the modern times, even though this was 4 years ago. Here we are, baby. This is 2019's Daemon.
We're probably due for a new
probably
Mayhem album sooner rather than later.
And now, listen to those drums? That's classic black metal drums.
Yeah. This like, they're like, okay, we're tired of being moody. We're just gonna like come out, punch you in the face.
If you listen to the riffs, it feels black metal again. It doesn't feel like Black Death or like the crazy technical stuff. It feels like they're trying to be black metal, like straight black metal again. That bass line fucking rules. That section is pretty fucking cool too.
So if go ahead.
Another unlikely, like, this is
It's really good. If I didn't love the debut so much, this would be personal favorite.
Yeah,
because I think this is so good.
I do like that we both have a favorite from the like more modern.
I didn't think it was gonna be this good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this album fucking rules, and it's as though they are just. It's so weird. It feels like the follow up to De Mysteriis. It's still a completely different type of song, different songwriting, of course, different writer, but it feels like that classic style again. There's no the blasting. It doesn't really go faster than that often. There's no more insane, inhuman, only a machine can move that fast drums anymore. Like all the crazy technical death metal stuff that we had from the last few albums it's pretty much gone, and the double picking is back. The double picking.
Well, you got two guitar players.
Got two guitar players, but no, I mean like double picking. Like when you think of, it's just when you strum really fast without palm muting. That's double picking. That's what's really characteristic of a lot of black metal is like double picking these guitar lines. It was pretty much missing for a lot of the whole chunk of albums we just talked about. It's back here. The riffs, they're back to being super melodic. They're back to being evil sounding. They're just catchier. Like I can actually remember them. It's back to being like a really tangible, interesting black metal album.
Yeah. Next song, Agenda Ignis.
Yep.
So earlier you brought up, not speaking Latin.
Yeah.
And then so Telok says it's supposed to be Latin, but I don't know Latin. I think it means flammable agenda or something. That's what Google Translate told me.
Yeah, this is the most evil band in the world.
I read that and I was like, I hope you're this insane. And most of the songs, he's just like, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what they're about.
Because who cares? Is the music cool?
Yeah. He's fucking hilarious. It's also funny because there's like this quick little like bass section where I'm like, that sounds really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then the comedy continues because he brings up that bass section and he's like, yeah, I realized it was the same effect Bon Jovi uses on Living for a Prayer.
You living on a prayer?
Oh yeah. So also maybe it's not cool.
I think it's more cool.
I think it's hilarious that like after the fact he realized what it was from, and then he's like, "Oh fuck,
oh shit, Bon Jovi's cool, dude." It turns out Bon Jovi's metal. And
there's also these like effects at the end of the song that they're not DJ scratches, but they kind of do sound like DJ scratches.
I didn't even think of that.
And then Bad Blood.
Bad Blood fucking absolutely rules.
That's the first guitar solo. I don't know how long.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I'm seeing now on this wiki snippet, Telok wrote most of the music and most of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Like, he did. Attila wrote lyrics for one song, Necrobutcher one song, Hellhammer and Ghoul also one song each. And Ghoul wrote... he wrote Bad Blood, Mullum, and Of Worms and Ruins, but everything else is Telok.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty insane.
I do like Mullum. He said it's like hearkening back to like Deathcrush.
Yeah,
which makes sense. It is one of the more like rockin' songs.
Really headbangy. They're back to being headbangy.
Yeah,
also on this album.
Plenty of operatic vocals.
Yes, they're pretty hilarious. I still like the riffs quite a bit.
falsified and hated.
Yeah.
Like just such a fucking chaotic ending to that song.
Oh yeah. I fucking love it. There's a break around a minute 40 that's like really big, boomy, and echoey. Like the toms on that section have every reverb in the world added to them.
Sounds real good.
It sounds pretty cool. But it's like it really that song in particular, man, that double kick energy feels great. It feels like black metal again, like classic black metal. I didn't like the other stuff, but just I missed it. I forgot it was there. Go ahead.
Oh, Aeon Demonium.
Aeon Demonium.
Those are not black. I love the more like military style drum patterns, and then like around the 4-minute mark,
425. Yeah,
that is some of Hellhammer's finest work.
Fucking awesome breakdown. Yeah, awesome stuff. Great song. Was it Worthless Abomination is Destroyed? Comes in high speed. I love that riff so fucking much.
Yeah, I just thought of Frank Reynolds and It's Always Sunny. So anyways, it started blasting. That's this song. You just start blasting
pretty
right
much.
Up. Yeah.
That song has the closest thing to a sad riff that Mayhem I think has ever done. It's not sad. It's still ugly and evil, but I don't know. It's just I just think of that.
I like Telox said he was like, I just wanted to like overwhelm people with that song. Maybe you're hoping the riff will change into something more likable, but it won't.
I like it.
Someone in a black metal band shouldn't be this funny.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. I wonder how much of that is like the language barrier too, which makes it even funnier.
Oh yeah, like you're watching an episode of Death Clock or something.
Yeah. There's a big evil build-up intro to Daemon Spawn.
I love that song. That is, you could argue that all these songs are appropriate to listen to when playing Bloodborne.
Oh yeah, probably.
That is the most Bloodborne.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love those fucking drums, man. It gets very doomy, really good drums. Busy hi-hat stuff.
Yeah, there is something about that where I do feel like I'm on a foggy cobblestone street and deranged werewolf people are trying to kill me.
And included with the theatrical vocals, which are pretty hilarious. And but it feels fucking great. I mean, the vocals are pretty goofy, but
Telox said that is his favorite song because the like simplicity of the riffs, and he's like, it's really hard for me to write like simple riffs because I want to just keep adding to it.
Interesting.
And he's like, I had restraint on that one.
It's a good song, not too bad. And I find across the board I just find all these riffs to be just catchy and intangible and easy to hook onto. Like of Worms and Ruins is both tangible and hooky. It's black metal to a T, but it feels great. It's like,
that's funny you thought it was hooky because I think that is like the ugliest.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is ugly. They're all really ugly.
Sure.
But I don't know. It just feels good. One of the weakest thing here, if not my least favorite, I think is Invoke the Oath, the closer. The not counting the bonus tracks, the closer.
Yeah. I kind of felt like, I know there's only so many black metal riffs, but I kind of felt like some of the riffage was like similar to Worms and Ruins, so it felt more like a continuation.
Redundant a little bit.
But like in a way where it's like we're thematically not like we're lazy, but more just like a continuation.
What I got was those riffs. I think is the ugliest thing on the album by miles, and one of the ugliest things they've ever done. I mean, it's like it's just I can't even explain how ugly it's like. It's so ugly.
I like the ebb. There's like an ebb and flow of that song where there's the ugly stuff. It's like minimal and ugly, but then there's like complex, fast sections, and going back and forth between the rules. There's like timpani drums on. I like timpani drums are a good addition here,
especially with black metal stuff. And then they got a couple of bonus tracks on streaming. They got Everlasting Dying Flame and Black Glass Communion.
So yeah, it's funny that you said this feels like the follow up to
the debut.
Yeah, because he just said he straight out took riffs from there
Yeah, I recognized it.
Yeah.
I couldn't pinpoint which riff I was thinking of. I was like, this sounds just like one of the early riffs. Like,
Yeah,
I had to double check the song title.
Yeah, he didn't say which ones, but yeah, he's just like, I took them and I like reworked them for this song, and you know what? Good on that dude for just being like, this is what it is. Although if this feels like a little tedious, I get why it's a bonus track.
Yeah. Both bonus tracks are like I like both songs fine, but it's too much. I think at the end of it.
I agree, but I actually really do enjoy Black Glass Communion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it could maybe if you threw it in the middle of that. I don't know if that would work, but maybe it would have just been better off like saved for an EP or something.
Maybe, yeah. It has some punkiness to it, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, I think that's why it worked a little better for me than Everlasting Dying Flame.
It has a different feel. It definitely has a more of a personality to it. So I guess this is the first major label album.
That's crazy that Century
Media.
Because I remember like following them back in the day when I like listened to Sony.
Yeah, so Tom notes here that like they started out Century Media started out as a German heavy metal label in '88, but in 2015 Sony swallowed them up. Bands past and present on the label: Asphyx, Shopping Young Lad, check out that episode, Napalm Death, I Hate God, Iced Earth, and Lacuna Coil.
I used to listen to some Iced Earth. Those were dark days.
Dark days, huh?
Mm-hmm. But Shadows Fall was like, I thought that band was going to be like the future of metal when I was in high school.
I remember hearing a lot of that, but I didn't listen to like people talking about that band.
They have one album that still fucking rules, and then they kind of went in a direction I don't personally like. I'm sure a lot of people do, but that's when I started paying attention to Century Media. I was like, what else you guys got?
I see. But yeah, this album fucking rules. I think it's my favorite since the debut. I think it's like classic black metal, but more technical and chaotic and tighter, much more tight. It's just memorable and hooky to me, despite its extreme bitterness, and I fucking love it. But they're still around. I think in 2021 they released the Atavistic Black Disorder Commando single or EP or whatever. It's a mix of their own music alongside punk covers, which is why I didn't add it to this because there's a lot of covers on it. But there's they apparently were asked by Loudwire to list their favorite punk albums, which I think is a very interesting question for a band like Mayhem.
Yeah.
So it says here, Necrobutcher, who was more keen to riff on what punk means to Mayhem rather than singling out any one specific album, said, Mayhem have always been drawn toward the extreme in every type of music. The punk bands that I could relate to back in the days were typically those that crossed over between metal and punk, such as GBH, Discharge, and Chaotic Discord, as well as later bands such as Crumbsuckers and Warfare. So according to Attila's favorites are City Baby Attacked by Rats by GBH. He says it was so vital, extreme, punchy, and straightforward. When it came out in 1982, it's really hard to describe. It just blew me away. It's so weird thinking of Attila listening to GBH. Almost as weird as Tillock listing Rich Kids on LSD, Rock and Roll Nightmare.
I have never heard that band until right now.
Oh, I never listened to them. They've always been around and never sat down and listened to them, which is interesting. Was it Ghoul picked No More Heroes by the Stranglers? Really weird. It's a 1977 album. He says this one is a nice balance between the all-out punk sound and that unusual Doors-like synth sound they had. The do keyboards belong in black metal debate has been going on almost since the start, and the same question was asked about punk mainly because of this band. It's very interesting. The Exploited, Troops of Tomorrow, Local Live by the Ramones, Never Mind the Bullocks by Sex Pistols, of course, and then Plastic Surgery Disasters by Dead Kennedys. It's a favorite of Attila's. Hell yes, check out that episode in Dead Kennedys. It's my favorite, that's for sure. But yeah, fucking wild. That it's also refreshing because you ask a young Euronymous the same question, he'll just disown it and be like, no, it's dog shit. We make the best. We make black metal is the only true music.
Well, I guess there's not an old Euronymous.
There is not an old Euronymous, but yeah, man, holy shit. What a wild fucking discography. Tom says, by the time this episode goes out, Mayhem will have just finished an October tour of North America with Cannibal Corpse. So
I maybe would like to see Mayhem live. Cannibal Corpse, I don't care for.
I don't mind Cannibal Corpse. I never really got into them, but they're fine. I imagine it'd be loud and exhausting.
Yeah. That's why I said maybe.
Yeah.
Got to think about it.
But holy hell, we made it to the end of this fucking wild discography. Fat, long episode as usual. But thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out with us. Let's do a little recap.
Best, the Mysteriis Dom
Sathanas. Yeah.
Sathanas. Chimera, worst least favorite. Boring by the number stuff. Personal favorite, Esoteric Warfare. Holy shit, I was not expecting modern era Mayhem to be as good as it is.
It's pretty fucking nutty. For me, the Mysteriis Dom Sathanas, best and personal favorite. It's the classic, and it's just my style of fucked up album. I just like the songs the most, and it's also really consistent. It's just solid. But you have to be ready for it. I mean, that's
fucking weird.
I've heard it so many times, and I wasn't ready for it, and it's just not gonna fucking land. And then Chimera, Worsley's favorite. It's just pretty hard to. It doesn't stick. It just does not stick with me at all. Intense and brutal and impressive, but hard to remember. And shout out to fucking Daemon. Daemon.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking Daemon Wayans. It's such a fucking. I was not expecting my second favorite to be the most recent album. I mean, holy shit.
That interviewer should have asked them what their favorite Wayans Brothers movies were.
Absolutely. White chicks. But Daemon Wayans is not my actual favorite. But
I watched that movie for the first time recently.
For the first time? Dude, you know.
How does that movie exist? I could record a whole podcast about that movie.
It's fucking nuts. I watched that in theaters.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah, dude. Holy shit. But thank you so much for listening and watching. Happy Halloween, of course, to everyone watching this on the day it drops. If you want to hang out with us further, talk some shit in the comments. Tell us why we don't know what we're talking about because we don't like metal the same way you do.
Purists will find this episode and
I'm sure
you'll do what you'll do.
Do what you do, whatever. But if you're cool,
go listen to Sunbather.
Go listen to great contemporary black metal album, Sunbather. Thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe if you want to hang out with us further. Follow me on all social media at PandaMonkey and Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex.
Please follow our history guy Tom Osman at Tom Osman Sounds on all social media as well as TomOsmanSounds.com. He does all the dirt digging as well as he gets albums for us, and it's very handy, very cool. You can also, and I would encourage you to please join the patreon.com/everyalbumever. That's where you go. You get bonus episodes. You get to see our schedule in advance. You get to join the fucking Discord and be a part of our community. It also suggests our EAE singles episodes on that Discord. For your tier 2 members, you can suggest a full discography to cover on our big long episodes like this one, as well as suggest individual albums for us to cover on Patreon bonus episodes. So go there and do that, please, and thank you.
Give us monies or we will turn your skull into a necklace.
That. Also check out my EP. There's a link to that in the description. I guess what we gonna wrap it with?
This is a heavy burden that I'm gonna pass to you.
Oh,
especially because you have way more knowledge and history than I do.
Oh boy.
And I feel like in my heart of hearts, you're gonna make the right choice.
I think. Yo, man, you know what? I gotta go with my gut.
Yeah.
Cursed in Eternity from the debut.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
Hell yeah. So thank you so much for listening and watching. See ya.